Having spent the better part of a month with the Xbox Series X preview unit and now about a week with an official retail build, I've been able to experience the breadth of what Microsoft's next-gen system offers. I've covered its capabilities in great detail with 2 full previews, but now it's time for a full review with the retail unit. The Xbox Series X is an impressive piece of hardware, one that flexes its power in subtle yet meaningful ways, but I wouldn't say it's essential to transition to the Series X at launch if you're on a One X, but the benefits of the next-gen hardware are tangible, and you won't want to go back once you get hands-on. With its RDNA 2 GPU and Zen 2 CPU from AMD, the Series X makes a significant technical leap. For current-gen games played through backwards compatibility, this means unlocking untapped potential that the One X couldn't leverage entirely. And in some cases, Series X does this without any need for optimizations. Some games will get inherent performance boosts by virtue of the more powerful specs, so if a game runs on an unlocked frame rate or a 60 FPS cap that it couldn't always maintain on existing hardware, you will see the game hit those higher frame rates more consistently. And if a game runs a dynamic resolution, it'll be able to maintain the highest resolutions it's allowed to hit. Previous examples I've used are Final Fantasy 15 and Monster Hunter World, both of which have One X enhancements but not Series X enhancements. In Final Fantasy 15, its performance mode runs a consistent 60 FPS, and Monster Hunter World can do the same even on the prioritized graphics mode. Where the One X would struggle to maintain 60 FPS, the Series X lets these games reach that potential. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is probably one of the best examples of Series X hardware simply boosting a game's performance to hit 60 FPS, unlike the Xbox One X. This is a case where it genuinely and meaningfully improves the experience, since Sekiro is an intense, high-stakes action game. On the flip side, an example of hard-coded limitations in games, Final Fantasy 15's higher fidelity options still run at its enforced cap of 30 FPS, and the same applies to games like The Outer Worlds. So don't go in expecting every single game to be running 4K resolution or super high frame rates. Some games are just made with built-in resolution or frame rate caps. In those cases, it's up to developers if they want to go back and implement new optimizations to utilize the new power afforded by the Series X. As for Series X optimized games, we've had access to Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Forza Horizon 4, Sea of Thieves, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. With Gears 5, you can boost the frame rate to 120 FPS in multiplayer to take advantage of the console's 4K 120Hz capabilities if you have the proper display. The enhancements I appreciate more, however, come from the increases from 30 FPS to 60 FPS while running crispy 4K, such as the case in Gears Tactics, Forza Horizon 4, and Sea of Thieves. They simply run full 4K 60 FPS, as opposed to the Xbox One X graphics options where you'd have to choose between visuals or performance. Yakuza Like Dragon is a bit trickier, and you get 2 options available: high resolution for native 4K 30 FPS and normal for 1440p 60 FPS. While it's likely to be a case-by-case basis, this could be indicative of where more graphically demanding games may go for the upcoming generation. From a technical standpoint, although the changes may not blow you away, these games have been slick experiences with some noticeable visual improvements. However, it's a fairly limited showcase of the Series X's full power. We should expect more substantial enhancements as more of these optimizations roll out. Super fast loading is what I think people will be most impressed by, as it provides a more practical benefit that makes gaming experiences nearly seamless. The internal NVMe SSD does the heavy lifting, and it does so without needing specific optimizations. The Series X can load from the main menu into gameplay for Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, in around 30 seconds. Games like Control, Final Fantasy 15, and The Outer Worlds load in about 10 to 12 seconds, and Gears 5 and Gears Tactics load into action in about 5 seconds and 15 seconds respectively. Yakuza Like a Dragon can load into its detailed world in just 6 seconds. These are all vast improvements over the Xbox One X's internal storage drive that usually took about 4 to 5 times longer. These numbers can start to lose meaning when rattled off like this, but it can't be understated how much of a difference the speed makes. Fast load times like these have been a major perk for PC gamers with NVMe SSDs, and now it's the standard going into the new console generation, and it's a luxury you can enjoy here. The internal SSD sure is fast, but 802GB of free space on this 1TB drive can fill up quickly with the size of games today. If you're looking at options for expanding storage, the 1TB Seagate expansion card is the premium option. Although it's pricey at $220 at launch, it performs exactly like the internal drive. You can also use external USB 3 drives to play backwards compatible games that haven't been optimized for Series X. If they are optimized or Series X specific games, you'll have to transfer them from external storage onto the internal drive or expansion card. Thankfully, transfer speeds are relatively fast over USB 3, though that also depends on whether or not you're using an SSD or a traditional hard drive. Those of you who've been using the Xbox One for some time will notice that things haven't changed all that much when it comes to the user interface. Navigation is much snappier on the Series X, but it maintains the overall look and feel, which I personally don't mind since it works well enough. What really brings that snappy navigation into its own is the quick resume feature. It's one of the highlights of using the Xbox Series X. You can have around 5 to 6 game states suspended and jump between those games without having to reboot them. All you do is hit the home button and switch to another game, and quick resume takes care of the rest. It's built into how the system operates. Quick resume retains those suspended states after turning off the console and even after unplugging the power cord. Now, not everyone will jump between that many games, but it's really convenient for hopping into the ones that you're frequently playing. It's had some hiccups during the review process with rare occasions of freezing while trying to jump back into a game. The hope is that these issues can be resolved if and when they do come up, because quick resume has a real benefit for the way I play games. Just be aware that the system doesn't communicate when quick resume reaches its upper limit though. Along with the Series X package is a revised controller. It doesn't stray too far from the Xbox One design, but features nice tactile textures on the grips and triggers, a crunchy 8-way D-pad, and a dedicated share button that lets you take screenshots or record short clips on the fly. You can also choose which resolution it records in, but that also dictates how long these clips can be. As for the console design itself, yeah, it has that thick brick aesthetic, but it's a simple and clean look. What's more important is that the system has been whisper quiet throughout my entire experience. And really, you don't need to worry about heat as long as you give the top fan enough space to vent. So overall, the Xbox Series X is a fantastic console that still has a ton of potential to unlock. Until console exclusive games come out, you won't necessarily be gated from accessing any content Xbox is offering. Holding off until you start seeing more games make the most of the system's potential is a fair and smart move, and nothing really screams out as a killer app for the Series X right now. But it's also worth considering that buying a console is an investment for your gaming future, and not just for what's available here and now. And at least what we've seen thus far is an enticing showcase of Series X's capabilities. It's an extremely refined Xbox, and a great piece of tech that sets a strong foundation for Microsoft to better serve its console users. At least right now, the future looks bright for the Xbox platform with the Series X.